And it's coming down now to the last best of three series of the round of 16 of the Bring Your Ally tournament, sponsored by Baz. Great thanks and shout out to him for sponsoring it through his own donations, I believe, from his stream. So great dedication from the community there. This is going to be a Terran versus Terran Zerg on the map Avalanche. Okay, so in the bottom team we have Skorpio, the green Terran, and his ally Vegeta on the red Terran for the European team in the bottom. And the top team we have Knight in the teal Zerg and his ally Lillekanin, the Danish Terran in blue Terran. So, okay guys, I talked a little bit about the map earlier, about this little choke point over here. That's sort of a dicey situation because it can get sieged and attacked very early on. Generally, if the Zerg spawns in this area here, it's a little bit better. Zerg's eco is not as fragile as Terran's when it's off one base. He can easily just, send his drones over to the other natural that he might get over here, or even over here if he lets Terran go for this one here. We're also seeing his Overlord getting sent on this side, mainly because he wants to see later on the timings here of this natural and maybe check out the back door here tech. We're also seeing that there's no early gases here from the Terrans. Here's the first one. So we have an 11 gas. So this is an 11 gas opening. It generally implies either a Reaper, but more so a Hellion heavy tech. If you go with Reapers, you want to generally go for the barracks earlier, like in this case. So we're seeing here a 12 racks, and it is going to be a 12 gas. So this implies it's going to be a Reaper opening of some sort. And Lillekanin is going for the gas first as well. So it's going to be, I think, like a 1-1-1 versus a 1-1-1 with a Reaper support. And he's even sending here the drone. Knight is sending the drone here to scout. This is essential. You really want to see the gas timing. It can mean everything here in these matchups against Terrans. Did he do a 999? Is he going 2 racks Reapers? How fast are the Hellions going to be out? Is it an 11 or 12 gas after the barracks into Hellions, or is it an 11 gas first? 11 gas first is generally very Hellion, very 1-1-1 heavy. Whereas if you do the barracks first, you're still opting more for the Reapers here. And we're seeing a 2 racks here from red, and they're also talking a little bit about some lag here, which this could be a big issue because you need all your micro and your latency here for those Reapers, else they're not really cost efficient, especially if you're going 2 racks Reaper. So earlier on when we were waiting, I was talking a lot about how as double Terran on this map, you have 2 options. Either you play super late game, or you put on some early aggression early, because the center of the map is very Zerg favored. So either you're going to do some kind of use of this kind of gimmick, or use of something like over here, like a push, block this, and then siege the natural. Or you're going to work onto the late game. And it looks like the bottom team are resorting for the pressure option. And this doesn't mean necessarily it's going to be an all-in. It just means that they're going to open up with some pressure build and then transition out of that. So green Terran here is going for that 1-1 so far, and Lillekanin is adding a second gas. So he's probably just not even going to worry about command centers. He just wants to make sure that his Zerg ally is safe, and we're going to probably just see a 1-1-1 transition, some Hellions and some Banshees and stuff like that. Whereas here, we're also seeing the 1-1-1, but this, without the second gas, this not necessarily might be a Banshee. It might be just a Hellion drop or something like that. I think Hellion drop is a good choice. It's a lot stronger in 2v2 than a lot of people give it credit to, just because both players can't be reacting on everything that their allies are doing and whatnot. So sometimes you don't know where your allies' units are or whatnot. You think you have a little area covered, but you're not. So there's a little more openings when you do a more surface area to work with when you do a Hellion drop. At the same time, without getting that gas early, he doesn't have the gas here to get this Cloak Banshee going. So it is going to be a drop. And it's a question of how aggressive he's going to be with this and how he's going to transition out of that. We're also seeing here that the 2 racks Reaper is opening in here for the command center. This is generally the case. You make a few Reapers. In fact, you should already stop making Reapers right around like 5 or 7. I would say 5 is a good number, just to synergize with these Hellions. You just don't want to do too much pressure here because the bunker is coming down, and with the Queens aiding, there's not a lot that they can do. Instead, what they really want to do is they want to be able to get a scout in to see the kind of tech that the Terran is doing. It's always about the Terrans here in this kind of matchup, and I don't know about this. I don't know about going up here this ramp. There was a lot of defense, and they don't really need to force it if it's not going to happen. They just need to keep the pressure and keep zoning them out. You really want to keep those Hellions alive for the Medivac. The Medivac is on its way, but it's now coming back here. Um, it I don't know exactly here. Now it's going. Now it's going over here. It was looking for the Hellions to group them up, and he's probably going to drop right over here and then start doing some damage. At the same time, he's following up with a Viking. This is an excellent choice. Not only does it kill the Overlords and denies vision of the Zerg, but at the same time, it can sort of start repelling off that Banshee. So this dropping, there's no vision here, so these Hellions are going in here, and let's see how much damage they can do. Two of them are sort of low on HP, and Knight's not really reacting to this. He is getting his lair, and his gas is going, he's going the 3 gas into lair transition. He's probably going to follow up by mutas, but now he's just getting wrecked. Look at this, all these drones here, he's losing all these drones. This is big. This was a money. He lost most of the Hellions, but that was fine. That's exactly what they need to do. On this kind of map, they just need to stall the Zerg eco, not let it get out of control. Once the mutas come out, it's going to be a problem. So you just need to wait. And this Banshee didn't do too much damage as well. The Viking came out just in time. They anticipated it. And the turret's on its way. So the bottom team is doing a very good job in this early game. And now Red is adding in the third command center. This is another typical play, is that you just, in 2v2, you can easily just add on these command centers as Terran and be very safe because of the synergy with your partner. The Terran armies just start getting stronger and stronger as they work together. And now that the Green Terran has finished his 1-1-1 plays, he's starting to add his command centers as well. And we're seeing here that this early double gas play from Lillekanin put him a little bit further behind than he wanted. His command centers going to be extremely late because he really dedicated to this Cloak Banshee, and he's now slowly turning into mech. He has really no choice. So one of the options was to like go bio and feed gas for the Zerg, so that his muta play would be a little bit stronger now that it's going to get delayed because the drone's lost. But at the same time, he doesn't really have the eco or anything to make a timing happen around the 10-minute, 11-minute mark. So instead, he's just opting to play a little bit more safe. They're going to start eating the map and just going to go mech. They're going to play for the long game, and they're going to play into the strengths of the Zerg and the Terran in the long game. So this is going to be actually really interesting. We're going to see now that the Terran here is transitioning to bio. Sorry, it transitioned to mech, and the red one is transitioning into bio. So we're going to have bio plus mech. It's going to leave the bio a lot of mobility to do drops and harass, while the mech secures further positioning. And with the power of planetary fortresses along this map, which is going to be big, more Hellion harass here are coming along. This is exactly what he needs to do. He needs to just keep on harassing, not allow Lillekanin to get the gas going. He's just dumping all of his gas into infrastructure while he just keeps going with Hellions for map control. And right now, both teams are sort of stabilizing, and I would like to see the bottom team here move out with their command centers a little bit early. They're a little bit afraid of just the ground troops here because they don't have any map presence. This bio force, unupgraded with no medivac support, isn't really excelling here at giving them map presence here and pushing out to get their naturals and secure them. They need to be a little bit more aggressive here before the top team manages to get a nice positioning. Remember, the danger of just losing map control on this map is really strong for the double Terran team. They cannot allow the Zerg to just go 3-4 base and then just start eating up the map. They need to start coming out here and making a presence, making a stand. We also see a little bit of harassment going on here as the first muta pop in and start delaying the third factory, which is going to slow down the mech. So both teams playing exactly how they should in this kind of situation. A little bit of miscommunication here. The Hellions are trapped. They cannot get in. And a little extra shots there as the top team is keeping the bottom team double Terran contained. Excellent play from both. And this command center is now being drilled at. And even if he lifts, the muta can still swoop in there and pick it off. So unfortunately, I think that command center is probably going to fall. And that's not really what Red wants at this point. He needs all the eco he wants. He needs a lot of minerals. He can feed his gas to his ally and then just dump all those minerals into Bio's troops. Anyways, at the top we see here that they've also already removed the rocks here for the gold in preparation of getting another base. Either team would probably favor or really work out. The minerals are mainly for the Zerg as the gas. Actually, both teams really need the gas, but Zerg can always do with extra minerals for just lings and just get more map control. But since it's all the way in the back, I think Lillekanin is the one who's going to get that base over there. We also see here that the production of Lillekanin is starting really to crank out. Let's take a quick look here at the army supply difference. It's very low army for the mech player relative to the Terran bio, but he is ahead of the mech player of the bottom team, which means that in terms of mech versus mech, the top team is a little bit ahead, and also these mutas are just harassing so much. Like, this is what I was talking about. If you don't play double Terran with your partner, enough. And in these really harsh situations, there's too much miscommunication. You need your bio ally to help you against these mutas. A Thor here or there is not going to be enough. But they're just going for it. There's a massive drop going on here as a counterattack, and they're really spread. They probably should be clumped up a little bit closer over here to maximize the damage. They're already in the low. At the same time, they're pushing over here. But I'm also not seeing a lot of siege tanks from Lillekanin. I mean, that early 1-1-1 with his late natural really delayed his gas intake, so he doesn't really have the tanks forces that he needs to deal with these Hellbats. So both players cutting edges here and there, and finding themselves in sort of a rough spot here, but that Hellion count is massive. And although the Hellbats are tanky, they are here light units, so they take extra damage from the Hellions, and they're just going to roast. And these mutas here just mopping up then the mech here that can't really do anything. And I like this nice little play here from the Medivac, trying to pick up the Thor, doing their best they can. It looks like the top team does take the win. The bottom team knows that they cannot come back from this, and it's going to be GG. Great props for Double Terran team. It was a hard map to play off against Terran Zerg, and they did very well. I like the openings that they did. They could have been a little bit more aggressive at the start when they had those Reapers, but then once the Hellions came in and they saw that they were poking up the ramp, they should have backed off and really start cranking out those CCs a little bit earlier. I think the top team did a very good job at delaying the eco when they started closing in on the bottom team, keeping their naturals, and then that pick off on that CC of Red Terran was just big. So good games, GG's, and we're going to go now to second game of the best of 3 series.